Welcome back, man. We are back with another installment of One Man Fast Break by your host, the one and only Jakari Cannon. We have had an eventful weekend, or rather, very uneventful weekend. This will be an episode recapping everything from All Star Break. Uh, in honor of All Star Break, I have a surprise for you guys. I am wearing a very chill guy shirt. Just to celebrate the nonchalantness. We've had very underwhelming All Star games, All Star weekends in the past, and the tradition continues. So we're gonna just hop right into it. I have a couple of things to say about this. This is not to burn the NBA. I love basketball. I love the art of basketball, not just the product the NBA brings, but just every level of basketball. So everything that I will be discussing in this is to maybe hope for improvement for the league we love, right? These are the best players in the world. I don't expect 100% effort in an All-Star game. I never would ever expect that. Even growing up as a kid in the 2000s, I never expected to see Kobe going 100%. There was times he did, but not nearly the full game or even most of the game. So I just wanted to preface everything I'm going to say with that. The first topic, just some of my bigger takeaways. We got winners. Mac McClung showed out in the dunk contest. The dunk contest actually was pretty decent this year. He's a three-time back-to-back-to-back winner. That's the first time in history we've got a guy winning three times back-to-back-to-back, if I'm not mistaken. So shout out to Mac McClung. I would love to see him get a real chance in the NBA. He signed on on the Lakers before. Got a few minutes at the end of the season. He's been on Orlando. He's gotten some NBA tick, but I mean, if y'all gonna keep calling this man's phone for the dunk contest, but don't want to give him a real chance to play, man, what's that about? At least sit on the bench, right? I'm sure he's not the worst man on the roster. I've seen him hoop. So yeah, shout out Matt McClung. Tyler Hero run the 3-point contest. That's all cool. We did get who was it that lit the 3-point contest up? Oh my god, my mind is blanking right now. Somebody was lighting it up, but he didn't even win. Maybe somebody could drop that comment for me. Skills challenge is what it is. Never. I mean, maybe it was 1 or 2 years where it was pretty exciting. They did recently in recent history. They had a bigs versus guards, and the bigs actually end up winning. That was pretty cool. I like that, but I mean, the skill challenge is what it is. I haven't really watched the skill challenge since I was a kid. I've had other things to do on the earlier part of my Saturday night. Especially now I live on the West Coast, so the All-Star weekend starts way earlier in the day for me. So I was probably still outside at that point. And then Friday, the celebrity game, and that is what it is as well. I went back and rewatched the Rising Stars. I'm an old head. I almost called it rookie versus sophomore game. That's not what it is anymore. The Rising Stars. I went back and watched that. It is what it was, man. So just some of my takeaways, man. I just wanna say I understand, right? I understand both sides. For the players, right? The NBA has some of the most toxic fans, like of any sport, right? Like we have the most toxic fans. Ring culture, what it has done to us as the way we view the game and how the players now view the game has completely ruined things, right? There's guys that are going to participate in a lot of things the rest of the season, and maybe because they're competitors, they don't think like this, but they have a great idea what their team is looking like, and that they more than likely are not going to have a chance to win a championship this year, right? It's just the truth. Like I don't expect Trey Young doesn't expect the Hawks to just make a leap and get to the NBA Finals, right? So like the theme that has changed how a lot of these guys approach the game, the All-Star game specifically. So if you tell a guy, hey, win a ring, you need to win a ring. You're 25, you're entering your prime. You haven't been on a deep playoff push, or you're this age, or you're this, and you haven't done these certain things that I expect because every great player that I've seen has won a ring at this age. Like we put this toxic ring culture on these players, and then we get mad that they take it serious. So what they do is they say, okay, for the All-Star break, I'm not going to try at all. I'm not only am I going to preserve my body and not get hurt, but I'm not going. I just played in the game a day ago, so I'm not going to go all out. I'm not going to give any of my effort. I shouldn't even be here right now. I should be on vacation like the other 400 guys in the NBA, right? Um, that's just how they approach the game, and that's due to what most of our discourse has been to them. So I mean, I think a huge part of that is that you give these guys 30 games left of the season, you would imagine that they're not going to go hard in this useless game that doesn't matter, right? They're going to get paid no matter what. So I don't mean to defend what we watched for the last few years. I don't want to defend that type of play, but you got to understand with some you have to look at things with context with them when it comes to this. Also, I made a note saying like I just mentioned slightly, these guys are on vacation. The All Star, it is called All Star break, right? Professionals at the end of the day, this is their job. But it's a job, right? And when you get, it's like a blessing and a curse. It's like I'm honored to be named an All Star, but I'm also the rest of my teammates that weren't All Stars because they weren't as good as me. I was better, and they get to have vacation with their family and not travel every second of every day and not live the NBA life for a minute, right? That's kind of like that's something that I could understand. If I were in the NBA, I would be, and I was an All Star. I'd be like, dang man, like I'm honored to be one, but at the same time, it's like, dang, I kind of want to take a little break as well. Maybe get some treatment. I mean, they get treatment all the time, but just rest, right? So I think that's a big part of things that we should look at. I know these guys make a boatload of money, especially if you're an All Star. More than likely, unless you're in your rookie deal and you make it, most of them are $200+ million guys, right? Uh, I don't expect them to go out and break their neck, but man. But also from the fans' perspective, it's like we got to get something out of this, man. Like if I were a ticket holder, I believe that the next All Star game is going to be held in LA. I'm pretty sure I've seen that report. It's going to be held in LA. I live in LA. If I living in LA was to go spend, I don't even know how much All Star ticket is. I would imagine it's easily for the whole weekend experience. That's easily $5,000, right? I don't know, $5,000 to $10,000. I would imagine somewhere in that ballpark. If I'm gonna spend 5,000 or up, can I get something? If I'm a viewer at home, can I get something, man? Like, I kind of want these guys to think like, think about them in their shoes, right? As me being 25, I'll be 26 soon. I'm the same age as guys like Shea, Luca, some of these guys that are Trey Young. Trey Young is in my high school graduating class. If I'm in his shoes, I mean, Trey Young actually does go out there and put on a show, so I don't want to say him specifically, but I know what I grew up on. The guys that I grew up watching in the All-Star game. I vividly remember being a kid, and I could not wait for Valentine's Day because usually that meant All-Star weekend, right? Like these dudes were Kobe, uh, Braun was a part of that also. Like it was just a lot of these guys, Tracy McGrady, Allen Iverson. They were going out there, and yes, they were having fun. That's a big difference. They were having fun. When I see these guys, I don't think that they're actually even having fun. Like I think they're just there because they gotta be. But not only were they having fun, but they were giving us a show, and they were making it competitive, right? Like I mean, I could be wrong on this, but I just don't remember uh, teams getting just blown out or a 1,000 3-pointer shot. Like I just don't remember that. That wasn't my viewing experience, and maybe because I was a kid, I don't remember to the T. But that was the sport that I grew up and I loved, and I know a lot of these guys grew up watching All Star games just as hard as I did, and it just kind of sucks where I just want to know what the fans are getting. And another thing people that aren't the young guys, the young kids that are watching. What in the world was going on? I told my girlfriend we were watching the game. Well, I was watching the game. She was doing something else. I was like, okay, if this format, if we're gonna have games, there's gonna be 3 tournaments, right? 3 tournaments going to 40 with no defense already being played. That's not going to be a lot of basketball. You're cutting us essentially a quarter short. But in the All Star game, it's even faster because they could get to 40 in the blink of an eye because they're going to get 1,000 open layups, right? I seen something. They reported there was 33 total minutes of basketball on All Star Saturday. I'm sorry, All Star Sunday. What? But it was like 2.5 or 3 hours of just straight commercial. I texted one of the group chats I'm in. I said, "Bro, it's been 30 minutes since I've seen a basketball being shot. That should never happen. That should never happen. It's the All Star weekend, not the commercial weekend, not commercial break. All Star break, right? That's crazy to me. So NBA, I know y'all got to get y'all money, but don't bore us. If I wasn't a hoop head and I didn't love basketball, I would not have even tuned into that. I could have done something else with my time. Obviously, I wanted to make this video as well, but that is unacceptable to me. I just don't know how that happens. So NBA, get it together, man. Get it together. I got some easy fixes, I think, that the NBA could take to maybe give the game some more energy, some more light. Um, I think one of the big things, the most simple things they could do, is take a page out of the MLB's book. I believe the MLB, whichever division or whichever conference, well, I don't watch baseball, but I don't know if they call it division or conference, but whichever side wins for the NBA will be East versus West. Whichever side wins gets home court advantage in the playoffs, so technically the finals. So whenever the time comes for the East to play the West, which would be the finals, that team gets home court advantage because at that point, if that doesn't give some type of a little kick in the butt, nothing will, because these guys are claiming they don't want to get hurt for the last 30 game push, right? And I understand that. But if we say we don't want to get hurt, and they say, okay, you don't want to get hurt because you all want to be well in the playoffs, right? Then that incentive, it's not money. That incentive is something that y'all are claiming that y'all want, right? You want that home court, whether you was going to get it or not. So if the West wins and OKC makes it, but the Cavaliers had a better record than them, OKC still gets that home court advantage in the finals, right? I think that's a great idea. I don't see why they don't at least try it. They've tried everything else. They all have tried everything. Y'all have tried donating money to children's hospitals. They've done everything. They've changed the format 1,000 times in the last 10 years. Y'all have done everything. Try that. Give that a shot. But this one right here, this may ruffle some feathers. This is something the NBA's been talking about for a while. I think the break is not long enough. Now, hear me out, basketball fans. I love ball too. Today is Tuesday. I'm recording this, so this is a couple days after the All-Star break, and there's not a game on until Thursday, I don't think. So it's already hard for me to just not have a game to watch. As you can see, my TV is pitch black right now. Hard for me to not have a game to watch. I'm a guy I will even tune into the Charlotte Hornets playing the Washington Wizards. Like, I'm going to watch that. So I get that, but just hear me out. A longer break. And you can do that. You can do a longer break by doing the things. Okay, wait. When I say longer break, also I wanna explain more on that by saying every NBA team played on Thursday, if I'm not mistaken. There was 15 games on TV. 15 games. So if all of those teams played, and then Friday y'all fly to the Bay Area, and then Saturday you're in attendance for a lot of the games, trying to rest or whatever, and then Sunday you play in the All-Star game. That's kind of a mess, right? So if you want these guys to play and play harder, and I think this would work. If you want them to play harder, maybe, just hear me out, maybe you can give them that whole week off, right? The week before the All-Star break. If the All-Star break is this big of a deal, give the week before the All-Star break, right after the trade deadline, no games, right? And this also gives guys time to get a little bit more acclimated to their team, right? So if the trade deadline, boom, hits, then what's next? A break before the All-Star break, right? And then from here, All-Star break, and then maybe not a 4-day break because it's not games till Thursday, but we just give it another 2.5, 3 days of rest again. So other than the All-Star break, these guys can get a little, 10, 11 days of rest. I think that might do something. And to do that, now maybe this is cool with some people, maybe not. The NBA's been talking about cutting the season down a little bit. When I hear that, I'm not a fan of that because I think it's too precious to mess with that because of the historical records, right? It's been 82 games since forever, right? Like it's been 82 games always, and that can really mess with records because obviously you're not going to be able to get as many stats if the season's cut by 10 games or 5 games or whatever. But if the All-Star game is viewed as that serious and it's becoming as big of a problem as it has, with the viewership already being in question and All-Star game viewership being in question, right? The NBA is all about making money. They're a corporation at the end of the day. So is it hurting you to cut the season maybe 5 games short, whether that's on the front end or the tail end of the season? Like if the NBA season starts when baseball ends, right? Is that too crazy? Is that too crazy to ask? I know that they've already been in the works of saying we are kind of a fan of cutting the season, but you can do that while also playing into the part of giving them a bigger break for the All-Star game to have them perform better, right? Does that make sense? If that makes sense, I might be a genius. I don't know. I might. If they do that, just reference this video. Now, for this last bit, this is going to be a short video. I'm going to have another episode coming out, hopefully the end of this week or the very beginning of next week. So I just wanted to touch on this before we got too far away from the All-Star break. Here's a few things I think will be great additions, whether it's from the past or if it's a new thing, right? So starting with the new things that we can add to the All-Star game. They've already been in talks of this. I made this note as it was going on, as All-Star Weekend was going on. But as soon as everybody complained about the All-Star game, they finally the NBA has addressed the possibility of a one-on-one tournament. I'm pretty sure that they're going to probably try to add that next year. Do not be surprised. But my main thing to do, because how many I don't want to replace something that's a tradition, but how many times can we see a dunk and let it be cool still, right? Like we have so much access to the internet, professional dunkers, right? And dunks that have just been done in dunk contests before. How many can you do, right? Like gravity stays at the end of the day. Gravity's going to stay, right? So I don't want to say replace the dunk contest, but that might just be a thing. And I think that having the crown of saying I'm the best one-on-one player in the NBA, that'll be a cool crown to have, and that could be something that's actually taken serious, right? Like king of ones. Everybody wants to be a ones killer, right? So I think that's something that would be really cool. But oh my God, I so much heavily pray that the NBA does not mess that up. Please don't mess that up. I don't know what y'all got to do, but just don't cap it. Don't cap it. Do not put a cap on what the ones tournament can be. You can just do 12 seconds with the ball. You get the ball at the top of the key. Maybe you throw guards tournament versus forwards and front court tournament. Like it's 2 separate tournaments. Because I mean, at the end of the day, is Kyrie going to really be able to check Kevin Durant or Wemby if he matches up with Wemby? Like, I mean, Kyrie's a phenomenal. He's probably the best pound for pound one-on-one player, but size matters. You got to not mess that up, NBA. So whatever that may take, y'all consider that. If you're going to bring it right. Do it right. And that's the thing that the NBA players, I think, will really take serious. So maybe another idea. This is something new. This is something that's completely out of left field that hit my brain, right? A lot of NBA players, and I believe them, but a lot of NBA players swear up and down that they would be a star in another sport. And it's typically football. So I say we get a flag football game. That might sound crazy, right? That might sound crazy. I thought that sounded crazy when I wrote it down. But just hear me out for a second. You cannot tell me that you wouldn't want to see your favorite all-star players playing, and they all talk mess about being phenomenal football players too. You can't tell me you wouldn't want to see them in a flag football game. And you can't tell me that they wouldn't try, right? Because they play basketball all the time, all day, all the time. But in a football game, we might be on to something. We might be on to something. Flag football, you got 3 quarters or 4 quarters, something like that. 5. I don't want to make it too short. I want it would still be on a Saturday event. maybe replace the skills challenge, because that skills challenge has been it's been dead for about 5 years now. Let that go. Replace the skills challenge with a flag football game. You can't tell me they wouldn't try, bro. And at the end of the day, it's entertainment, right? And let the winnings go to a tournament, right? Like the winnings, y'all do a tournament thing, and it will give the players to say, "Hey, I told you I'm nice at football," or us fans give us the satisfaction of saying, "Hey, didn't he say he was nice? Didn't he say he could go play in the NFL?" Tell me I didn't just cook with that, right? Boom. I think that would do numbers. Tell me what y'all think in the comments. Yeah, and I already talked about my last point, a break before the weekend. Just I think that's a new thing that I think could be added, and it gives them just more a higher chance of actually caring about this All-Star Sunday game. So those are the new things. But there are some old things I think if we brought them back, there'd be something that's cool about bringing back old things, right? For example, first of all, bring back East versus West. I don't want to see no more of these formats. I thought for the first two times the captains picking their teams, East versus West, the East captain versus the West captain picking their teams. That was pretty cool for a while, but hey, just East versus West, man. Let's just get back to what we know. That's what it always has been. That's what it is in the playoff. I mean, in the finals, it's East versus West, right? Let's just do that again. NBA, y'all fumbled a perfect opportunity with this too. This was the 25th. This was the 25th anniversary of the 2000 All-Star Game, the best All-Star weekend of all time. We had the Vince Carter dunk contest, and we had the most lit, most amazing All-Star game where they wore their own home team jerseys, where Kobe was in a Lakers jersey in the All-Star game. Like, that was hard. Tim Duncan was in a Spurs jersey. That was hard. Y'all had a chance to do that on the 25th anniversary, and y'all didn't, right? But it's not too late. You can do it right now, next year. We in LA. You in the city of flashing lights, bro. Do it next year. Bring the jerseys back. Bring back the home team jerseys. I'm not gonna say it again. If nothing else on this list happened, we want to see that. Are we not all tired of seeing these trash jerseys that they've come up with? This year's jersey wasn't too bad, but there have been some eyesores in the past, right? Please tell me if I'm lying. Bring back the home team jerseys, right? Another thing, I seen there was this one, I don't remember what year this was from, but I'm pretty sure it was pretty trash, right? But it was like Kevin Durant and Rajon Rondo were playing horse. If anybody remembers that, please tell me I'm not crazy. That was at All-Star Game. Am I correct? Whether it was or wasn't, once again, NBA, don't mess that up. We don't want to just see two guys shooting jumpers at the top of the key. Like, we want to see something creative. Let them be creative. Don't try to cap them and hold the rules to where you can't do something. Also, give them I'm cool with you giving them a clock, giving them not a lot of time to like do something creative. You should, if you're gonna participate in the horse tournament, you should know what you're gonna be doing. Maybe you practice it for a couple of days. You had that whole week off. If y'all take all my ideas, y'all had that whole week to get, hey. Boom. All right, so a horse tournament. I think that would go crazy. We got some of the best. We literally have the best shot makers, best shot takers, shot creators in the world, and we don't have a horse tournament, right? That would be cool. And finally, bring back defense. Just bring back defense. I swear to God, I do not expect you to sit in that chair like 2006 Kobe Bryant, right? I don't expect that. You don't need to be slapping the floor. If you slap the floor, though, you got to get a stop, right? You got to get a stop if you slap the floor. I'm not expecting y'all to be in your defensive Drew Holiday bag, but can I get some Jaren Jackson? Thank you, Jaren Jackson. You was swatting shots. Wemby, thank you. You was swatting shots if you could get to him. I seen Wemby was trying to chase down, I think it was Cade. He was trying to chase down Cade and swat his shot. I'm a fan of that. Bring back some defense. And like you said, I know these dudes don't want to get hurt, but are you really just going to get hurt like sliding your feet? If you do, I'm sorry, I hate to say this, knock on wood, that was inevitable to happen. If you're going to get hurt sliding your feet, sliding your puppies, that's just like the most simple thing. All right, and I think defense should be played again a lot bit, because I mean, we see these dudes be in the summertime, and I get it's a different time. It's a different part of the NBA schedule. You got time to get healthy again. But I mean, come on. I be seeing these dudes on these UCLA clips in the summertime going hard, like almost diving on the ball, throwing oops off the glass, and the defenders trying to snag the oop. I'm like, y'all don't even play like that in the NBA. Y'all, if an alley oop is thrown, how many guys? Tell me right now, how many guys are going to try to steal that oop? I've seen that in UCLA Bruin runs, right? So just let us get something, right? Let us get something. I think this is a hot take. People try to say who ruined the All-Star game, what happened. It's two things that happened. It's two things. Let me tell you, I got all the answers up here. It's two things that happened. The first thing, David Stern is no longer with us, and when he retired, the All-Star game low-key went to hell. Tell me I'm lying. And the other thing is when Kobe retired. With no Kobe and no David Stern, who's gonna check them? Like who's gonna stop them in the All-Star game, right? Or make them want to play, right? Like it's I think I love LeBron. I know LeBron's a great leader, but LeBron ain't really going out there saying, "Hey, we playing." None of that BS. Bron's just gonna go and play, right? He's gonna go play and get his highlights. But Kobe was in that. He was on that. Like he never, like I said, I know he wasn't locking up. He knew that the fans wanted to see a show. But when it came down to the last half of that third quarter, the last 5 minutes of the third quarter, and the entirety of the fourth quarter, he gave us a show for the third quarter and the fourth quarter. And everybody else followed, right? They was like, oh, if Kobe's playing, I'm playing. And we got great All-Star games from that. And just David Stern, the old commissioner of the NBA, if you don't know, David Stern was so strict, bro. He wasn't going for none of that. He was the dress code guy. He was hey, I'm Chris Paul, you're not going to the Lakers guy. All-Star game is going to be competitive guy. He knew that the NBA was a business, and to get business, you got to be entertaining because you're an entertainment company, right? So I don't know what he was saying, but I just find it interesting that those two things correlate. David Stern retires, NBA All-Star game goes to hell. Very interesting. And that'll do it, man. I just wanted a little short episode on the All-Star game, All-Star break recap. I'm going to have another episode coming soon. When the NBA season kicks back off, we almost there, man. We got a couple more days. By the time I get this posted, we might just have one day, and then Hoops is back. All right, so tune in to my Instagram, One Man Fast Break, and I will catch y'all on that next episode. Peace.